UK government report has exposed the alarming exponential rise in anti-Semitic protests and violence in the 21 months since the Hamas terror onslaught into Israel on October 7th. The report also underscores inconsistent law enforcement regarding hate crimes against Jews and a failure to recognize anti-Semitism as a form of racism. Yet, in recent months, authorities are stepping up to very public displays, calling for death to Israelis. We're now heading to the UK, where we're joined by Toby Greene, the Director of Public Affairs for the Board of Deputies of British Jews in London. Hello, and thank you very much for being here.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Unfortunately, under these circumstances, we know we just did several reports about this and the rising tide of protests and whatnot. So obviously nothing new since October 7th. But how has the sense of security for British Jews been received? Has it been erased? Has it gotten worse since what began in the wake of October 7th?
Well, there are significant physical security threats to the community. I wouldn't want to say the security has been erased. We have threats, but we also have a government in this country very committed to supporting and protecting the Jewish community and security services also. And we have a strong communal organization, the Community Security Trust, that does a huge amount to protect our physical security. But what we've highlighted, or what's been highlighted in this report that the Board of Deputies has published this week, which has been chaired by two senior politicians, a Conservative Dame Penny Mordaunt and a Labour politician, Lord John Mann, is too many circumstances where British Jews find they're being either isolated or discriminated against in too many walks of life in the UK, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be in trade unions, whether it be in educational spaces, and other areas of life as well. And so what we've done, or what the commissioners have done with this report that the Board of Deputies has published, is bring forward 10 recommendations for how to address that kind of discrimination and isolation that's affecting Jews, as you mentioned, particularly since the 7th of October 2023.
Also, we've seen a lot just in the few weeks, of course, with what happened at the Glastonbury Music Festival with the performer Bob Vylan calling pretty strong words, death to the IDF. There was a condemnation of it. So it does seem that there are people that are standing up to actually call hate, racism, and anti-Semitism in the face. Is that comforting?
Absolutely. And most people going to a music festival don't want to be led in chance of death to anything. But that incident highlighted a number of the kinds of concerns that are highlighted in the report that the Board of Deputies has published. Attitudinal concerns. Why is the performer engaging in this kind of hate speech? Not only the sort of the chants, but also going into anti-Semitic tirade about their former boss. How can anybody think that that's an acceptable kind of speech to engage in on the stage of any public stage, but certainly a large music festival? And also, why did the BBC producers that were live streaming that event not immediately recognize this was an anti-Semitic speech and cut the broadcast? I mean, they reacted to it as though it was kind of strong language, but didn't immediately understand that this is anti-Semitic. And that's an educational challenge. And education is also another important feature of the recommendations in this report. How do we have high quality anti-Semitism education so that everybody understands and recognizes anti-Jewish hate speech when it comes along?
Right.
On the more positive side, as you mentioned, the backlash against both the artist involved and the festival and the BBC for failing to cut that broadcast from all sides on the political spectrum, including the government, has been very, very, very strong. So we should acknowledge the strength of feeling against what happened there, and the Jewish community should take some heart that it does have strong political support on these issues.
Yeah, it was definitely comforting. I did that report when it happened. Also, lawmakers just voted to deem the Palestine Action a terror organization. I mean, they've been making a lot of noise. Is this something, do you think there's a critical force now that there will be more immediate action and condemnation as more things spring up?
I think there is strong, as I say, cross-party political support for addressing these issues, and the report that our commissioners have brought forward this week and that we've published is going to help with that agenda, because it has these 10 concrete recommendations, and it's very action-focused and very specific. And we've had very strong words of support for the report from the Prime Minister on down, including the Prime Minister in the House of Commons referring to it. So I think ministers and officials are going to be taking the report, are going to be looking at the recommendations, and the Board of Deputies, the commissioners, Dame Penny Mordaunt and Lord John Mann, and other organisations will be working together to make sure that these recommendations are taken forward, are implemented, so that we can address the concerns that are affecting British Jews.
All right. Thank you so much, Toby Greene, the Director of Public Affairs for the Board of Deputies of British Jews in London. Much appreciated.
My pleasure.